Fun in learning, happiness in training. Now let us turn our attention to education. In the process of learning, it is imperative to generate wholesome enthusiasm, for if this does not occur, people will not experience real happiness while learning. The best one can hope for in such a case is to have fun, which is the happiness of someone dedicated to pleasure, similar to the pleasure derived from watching a play or a movie. If wholesome enthusiasm has been generated, whether one's learning is fun or not becomes a minor, insignificant matter. Granted, having fun fosters motivation and interest in students, and it is an instrument for facilitating an understanding of the gist of the subject at hand. Having fun, however, is not the essence of education. It is not an essential part of the true learning process. In connection to the explanation above, having fun is simply a supportive factor, which one must know how to apply in order to aid wholesome desire and to enter the true learning process. Education begins with wholesome enthusiasm, and it is vital that children possess such desire. Although amusement for children is useful when it successfully helps to generate wholesome desire, without wholesome desire one must rely entirely on having fun, and one must constantly increase this sense of fun. Needing to constantly entertain the children is wearisome for the teachers, who need to come up with new ways of providing the students with fun activities. It is true that an ability to make learning fun is an admirable skill, but it is important to also instill wholesome enthusiasm. It is necessary to distinguish these two qualities and to ensure that fun is not simply a way of gratifying the desire for pleasure, which is often the case, say by watching a movie. Otherwise, the teacher resembles an actor, and the pleasure derived by having fun is a form of feeding craving. This feeding of craving by amusing oneself with sights, sounds, etc. gives rise to problems, which then need to be rectified. The basic problem is an attachment to such enjoyment, along with a sense of apathy and boredom, which requires people to seek increasingly greater amounts of and degrees of stimulation. Using such entertainment in teaching will at first provide much fun for the students, but eventually they will grow accustomed to and bored with it. The next time one must add to the amusement or introduce new forms of entertainment, thus increasing the stimulation and gratification. This becomes an endless cycle. The teachers become fatigued and the students themselves are at a dead end, spinning around in a vortex of craving. The students become addicted to such entertainment, only seeking amusement. Rather than being fascinated with learning, they wait for the next performance or show. They do not have the desire to learn and to seek knowledge by themselves. In this way, the flow of craving is strengthened. If one is not careful, children will not be interested in learning. Instead, they will only delight in the aspects of entertainment. They will not advance to acquiring vital information, and they will not generate wholesome enthusiasm. For this reason, it is essential that one understands the proper role of entertainment and fun in education. Having fun helps to create an initial interest in learning. It is a preliminary and external factor in the true process of learning. It acts as a link to something greater, not as an end goal. The true purpose of external factors in education is to generate internal factors within an individual. Teachers are an outside influence, paratogos, a voice of encouragement and guidance. Ideally, they are a positive influence and act as virtuous friends, Kalyanamita. They transmit knowledge and promote certain kinds of seeing, listening, and thinking in order for the pupils to generate their own interest and enthusiasm, which then becomes the driving force in their studies. Besides transmitting specific information, the true success of a teacher thus rests with his or her ability to help generate wholesome enthusiasm, chanda, within the students. If teachers do not have this aim, then all they can do is entertain the students, which eventually leads to apathy and boredom on the part of the students, and fatigue on the part of the teachers. Teachers, virtuous friends, or other external influences need thus to act as a medium, linking external factors with internal factors, and helping students to generate virtuous qualities within themselves. Otherwise, teachers reinforce the students the characteristic of being dependent on others. If teachers understand the true responsibility of the teaching profession, they will seek ways to facilitate an understanding in the students of the subject materials and to induce an interest in learning. If students develop this wholesome enthusiasm, they can progress in their studies independently. Although the teacher is not present, they will say, "I have a subject of study to pursue. I want to research this matter. I wish to go to the library and read up on this subject." They will derive happiness from this research because it satisfies their interest in learning. It fulfills the desire to gain knowledge. In this way, learning will progress naturally and automatically. If we are able to generate the wholesome desire, chanda, as the starting point in our studies, our entire way of life and pursuit of happiness will change. And the new kind of happiness that gradually increases throughout this process is exceptional and unexpected. Before, we only relied on craving, seeking to obtain and consume things. We excitedly pursued desirable sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and tangibles for consumption. When we experienced these things, we felt gratification. Yet when we encountered undesirable objects, we were displeased, irritated, and distressed. Our happiness and unhappiness was entirely dependent on likes and dislikes, subject to craving, and our views on happiness were limited to this dynamic. When one gives rise to wholesome enthusiasm, one experiences a new form of desire. One wishes to truly learn about things and to act in order to bring about improvement. When one obtains knowledge or does things well, one is happy, and this happiness increases exponentially. One's relationship changes even to those things that are unpleasant and were formerly distressing. When one sees that there are aspects to undesirable things that are worthy of study and investigation, one wants to understand them. One asks such questions as, how is this object bad? Why is this object undesirable? One begins to appreciate unpleasant things because they provide an opportunity for learning. Wholesome enthusiasm chanda leads people to appreciate and even to derive joy from undesirable things and situations. This happiness stems from gaining knowledge and from one's own skillful actions. Note that wholesome enthusiasm chanda is associated with and must be accompanied by wisdom, panya. This is unlike craving, tanha, which is accompanied by ignorance, avidya, and requires no wisdom. Craving can arise at all times, while wholesome desire is only developed with the help of wisdom. How is wholesome desire accompanied by wisdom? Say one encounters a disagreeable, unpleasant object, which is rejected by craving. Yet when wisdom recognizes that the object is beneficial in some way, wholesome enthusiasm participates in the process. The desire to know and the desire to act are set in motion, and happiness follows along with the fulfillment of this desire. With the introduction of wholesome enthusiasm, likes and dislikes based on craving lose almost all of their influence and power. Those things previously considered unacceptable by craving, those things which used to be deplorable and cause affliction, now, with the power of wisdom and wholesome desire, are able to provide happiness. In this way, one who begins a true form of education and training is able to find happiness, even from those things that do not offer gratification to craving. This process of learning then develops, whereby preferences and aversions gradually lose their ability to overwhelm and sway the mind. One's attention, thoughts, and happiness centers around knowledge, skillful action. This is how someone like Albert Einstein comes to be. On a practical level, if one is able to establish an education system promoting a basic level of wholesome enthusiasm, the nation will have an increased number of creators who will offset those consumers who have no desire to act, other than to find ways to satisfy their craving. In sum, this process involves a delight in the goodness and completion of something. If the object has not yet reached such a state of goodness and completion, one wants to act in order to help bring about this state, and one wants to know what needs to be done to accomplish this. Alternatively, the desire to know precedes the desire to act. When one has gained the necessary knowledge, one is able to act according to one's wishes. When one completes the action and satisfies one's desire, happiness follows, and this happiness increases the more one accomplishes. The desire to know and the desire to act function in unison. These aspects of desire lead to and are accompanied by happiness and true learning. If these two aspects of desire are absent, learning will be difficult and students will be unwilling and unhappy. If one is able to generate wholesome enthusiasm, learning will proceed automatically. In the same way as the Buddha stated that with dawn as harbinger. The rising of the sun is guaranteed. In connection to society, to their relationship with other people, wholesome desire, chanda, can be expanded into 4 spiritual qualities, referred to as the 4 divine abidings, Brahma Vihara, literally, qualities characteristic of Brahma gods, or supreme spiritual qualities. Loving kindness, metta, compassion, karuna, sympathetic joy, mudita, and equanimity, upekkha. Here one can see how the development of desire runs parallel to the development of happiness. In fact, these 2 forms of development are identical. As one elevates desire from craving to wholesome enthusiasm, and as one develops this enthusiasm, happiness is expanded and deepened.